So, hello. I'm glad to be joining you all today from my house in Paxton, Illinois. I'm talking to you a little bit about the University of Illinois, specifically the College of Aces. So it's great to have you guys joining us today. It's a beautiful day outside. So we've got about 25 minutes or so. So I'll be glad to answer any of your questions specifically about the college, specifically about the Agricultural Leadership Education Communications Program, and tell you a little bit about myself and my background. So real quick, again, my name is Gary Ochs. I'm an instructor and academic advisor in the ALEC program, Agricultural Leadership Education and Communications Program at the University of Illinois. I am finishing up my 7th year in my position, and prior to me starting at the U of I was a high school agriculture teacher for 13 years. Began my career at Paris High School, which is in south of Champaign, about an hour or so. And then the second school I taught at was Red Hill School District, Red Hill High School, in Bridgeport, Illinois, so kind of down in Southern Illinois, District 5, which is actually the adjoining school district to where I grew up and went to school, which was Richland County, or at that time, East Richland High School in Olney, Illinois. So I came from District 5, where my folks grew up, or where my folks farm, and they still farm with my 2 older brothers. I try to help farm as much as I possibly can. So it's definitely, agriculture is definitely something in my blood. My mom was a teacher, dad was a farmer, so it became an ag teacher, became a natural, kind of a natural fit for me to do that. So that's a little bit about who I am. Again, 7th year, I teach classes specifically on the agriculture education side, working with students who want to become high school agriculture teachers, but I also advise students in our program. And I think that's kind of one of the nice things about the College of Aces is that each department or each program has its own advisor. So every student in ALEC, they either come to me or my counterpart Heather Miller, who does some of the AgCom advising. I see a question from Luke Allen asking about for students who think that the U of I is too big. So that's a great question. We do hear that a lot. The University of Illinois it can be a big place. One of the cool things about the U of I is that you have we are a Big Ten university. We're a major university, but the College of Aces is fairly small. It's actually our college, the College of Aces, is actually smaller than a lot of junior colleges in Illinois. So you do get a lot of that one-on-one interaction with your advisors, your faculty, your instructors, professors, whomever. So that's pretty, and even the deans within our college. So that's pretty neat. And it's big enough that you can go do and see all these different things, concerts, major athletics, things like that, but then know that you have a small intimate setting that you can get to know other people in your major. And you have these opportunities if you want to take advantage of them. You don't have to. And I think that's a lot of times what people will get overwhelmed that there's so many things to do. Well, this is true. So there's a lot of opportunities, but you don't have to do that. We do want to push you a little bit outside of your comfort level, but at the same time, really, it's you do what you want to do. So hopefully it doesn't feel as big. Question from Jay, specifically asking about the different departments majors. Yeah. So the university is the big overall entity, and then there are different colleges and schools within the university. And within the College of Aces, we have roughly 10 majors. And then within those 10 majors, we have over 40 concentrations. So for instance, my program that I work with is Agricultural Leadership Education Communications, and we have 3 concentrations within our major: Ag Ed, Organizational Community Leadership, and ag communications. Our ag econ, for instance, they have roughly 9 concentrations within it. So there's a whole lot of more specific areas of study than just our major. So we have all these different concentrations, and you can find those by going to aces.illinois.edu. You can visit aces.illinois.edu if you want to kind of learn some more, kind of set up a visit with us. And they do range everything from food science to human development, family studies, crop science, animal science, technical systems management, and ag engineering. ALEC, as I said, we have ag econ. I think that's all of them I listed. So like I said, we have 10 of them, and I'm sure I forgot one somewhere along the way. Keely asked, do most ACES students from a traditional agriculture background? That's a great question. So we have roughly 2,700 students, undergraduate students, so kind of that bachelor's range, from all across the country and several countries outside the United States. I would say that there's a lot that come from small rural towns. A lot come from Chicagoland area and the suburbs and everything in between. So I think there's a good mix. And I think that's one of the cool things about our college is that you do get exposed and have the opportunity to learn from your peers who have a different background than you. So maybe you might be sitting in a class, you may be, for instance, one of our students in our program, their graduating class was roughly, let's say like 27, 30, something like that. And, they may be sitting next to a student that came from a school in Chicago that had, 7,000 students in it. So I think that's kind of one of the neat things. And there's a lot of different opportunities to, again, meet people from outside of your local community, your home community, and kind of see what their experiences are, because those will hopefully shape who you are as well, being exposed to these different ideas. Emily asked, what kinds of activities or clubs would you encourage students to get involved with in the College of ACES? That's a great question. So within the College of ACES specifically, we have over 40 RSOs, or registered student organizations, i.e. clubs, that are aligned to our major. So all those, I mentioned the 10 majors within our college. We have about 40 or so that are directly related or affiliated with our majors and within the college itself. And then there's about 1,500 more across campus. And if you've ever heard me talk before about some of the organizations on campus, there's several of them that I really get to have some fun with. So there's a lot of different clubs. Generally, I always tell students that they should get involved with a club organization directly aligned to their major. So maybe it's, for our students, maybe it's Ag Communicators of Tomorrow or Agriculture Education Club. There's a lot of them that do both. And then maybe do something that's more general. So they may join Collegiate Farm Bureau for us with students within our major. And then do one just for fun. I've had students in the past that have been a member of the October Lovers Club. You can research that on your own, but in essence, it's set up to celebrate October. Or the Illini Skydivers, or any of those type of things, or the judging. We have several different judging teams, whether it be livestock, dairy cattle, horticulture, there's marketing, there's floriculture, there's different skill-a-thons, there's horse judging. So there's a lot of different ways people can get involved and kind of broaden their scope and be exposed to different ideas, and then use their skills that are directly related to their professional goals. That's the cool thing, is that these are things that are going to be directly related to professional goals, and put them in contact with people who they may meet or may help them later on in life with internships or careers. And before I forget, I do want to mention Susan Koppas. She is kind of our college recruiting coordinator. So she has some great information there. So she may try to chime in the chat window here if I miss something. But she did link to our different areas of study. Average career outlook, Keely asked about average career outlook for ACES students. So, I mean, I think probably like most colleges, you get done, you graduate, you get a job, depending on what you want to do. You know, students with an agriculture background, or at least, or having some of that science content, are very valuable to employers, because they're looking for people who understand science and can talk and lead and educate and work and research in those sciences, which agriculture would be a science, of course. So I think that the outlook is good for ACEs careers. The university itself, we have a huge alumni network, which definitely helps a little bit. Maybe getting your foot in the door with interviews or something. If you have, if you're applying for a job that maybe an alum works at, owns, whatever, maybe that gets your foot in the door. But I think you'd find that a lot of different universities and colleges. But I would say that just because of the size of our institution, we have a lot of people that are actually out, and hiring people, and hopefully ACES people take care of ACES people. But ultimately, we want to put out good quality citizens and people who know what they're doing. Oh, transfer. Yeah, definitely. Maggie asked about transferring. I was a result of a transfer. I went to junior college down in southeastern Illinois, kind of where I grew up. So I transferred up here. One thing that I would recommend is definitely you want to contact the individual, whether it be the department recruiter or department advisor, depending on what you're trying to do, and work with them to figure out a route to get you to U of I. I know with some of the students I've worked with in the last 7 years that have gone to a JUCO first or a community college first before coming to U of I, I've kind of worked with them to figure out what maybe some classes are they should take at their community college before they get to us, or in addition to what their college wants them to do, to maybe prep them a little better or get some of the other stuff knocked out of the way. But definitely you want to be in contact. And I would say even your senior year, if you know you're going to a certain junior college or community college, go ahead and contact someone at the U of I that you want to study with, and figure out what that game plan is. And of course, come visit. Of course, it's a little different. You can do virtual visits right now, but definitely you want to come visit and see what we can offer you. Jennifer asks, what is the best way to transfer to make sure the class will transfer? Yeah, so so Jennifer, and she mentioned my lovely ag teacher wife. Yeah, my wife is also an ag teacher. Wendy, I don't know if she's watching or not right now, but she probably will later. But I would say there's what I use when students say, hey, Mr. Ochs, I'm going to such and such community college. How does that transfer to U of I? There's transferology lab is what I think most of us in Illinois and a lot of us across the country, I think, use. But that's how I do it. And honestly, if someone's coming to ag ed or ag com or leadership for us, I'm okay with them just emailing me and I'll look it up for them. So definitely. Got a question. Oh, and Susan just linked it to our transfer guide. That's a great resource that we all use to make sure that our students are on the right track to transfer up here. How do you recommend a student make a big decision of choosing university? That's a good question, because the way I look at it, you're either going to university for 2, 3, or 4 years. And it's a big financial investment. It's a big time investment, of course. I honestly think the best way to get an idea of what university or college is right for you is to, one, go visit the university. So for instance, when they come visit us, they interact with students, kind of get the student perspective, and want to know what it's like actually being a student. They get to see our campus. Many of you may have come to campus for part of state awards day or some of the state career development events. So maybe you don't get to necessarily see the heart of campus or see some, other than the stock pavilion or the farms or wherever they may be. So definitely it's an opportunity to come and see and actually interact with students, get their feeling, meet with someone like me that's an advisor, and kind of plan out the next step or process. And that's probably the biggest decision I would recommend to students is, high school students or community college students, use your college days. Go visit your university. Hopefully, UVI will be the place you want to come visit, and really see what it is like to be a student here or there or wherever you're going. What's my favorite part of campus? Gosh. So I'm partial. I think our campus is beautiful, and there's times in the like we have tons of sidewalks, tons of bike paths, so it's really easy to navigate yourself around campus. I would say that God, the quad is beautiful. So we in kind of the heart of our campus, which adjoins the ACES campus. I see, it's a big kind of park-like area, trees surrounding the quad. You have our Union at one end and Follinger Auditorium at the other end, and buildings, classroom spaces lighting it. On a beautiful summer day or spring sunny day like this, I think that you'll see a lot of people out there just kind of lounging around, enjoying the sun. There'll be people on slack lines. There'll be dogs. They'll be playing spike ball. There are dogs running around. It's just kind of a big park atmosphere, and that's pretty cool. Luckily, it's about a 2-minute walk from my office in Bevere Hall. So I think the quad is probably the thing I love best. Of course, Alma, you got to go visit Alma when you're on campus. She's on the corner of Wright and Green Street for us. And Susan has linked some of our virtual tours we have in there as well. So Keely, and then I have a couple of students and former students saying ILL, so INI to you, Eliza and Jeff. What criteria, Keely asks, what criteria beyond GPA or test scores can set you apart from applicants, and does your GPA and test score make or break the chance of admissions? Yeah, that's something we get a lot, and I'm hoping Susan will link the page to the admissions page, actually. So the university does a holistic approach to how they admit students. They look at they do look at your test scores. They look at your grades in high school. Did you challenge yourself? Did you take classes? But then they really look at, what did you do? Like, what do you want to do, and why are you wanting to change the world, in essence? Because we do look at our students in the college as folks who want to go change the world in the food, fiber, and natural resources system. So involving communities and families and food, natural resources, all those type of things. Why do you want to, and this, Keely, answer your question, I think that's a good place to kind of set yourself apart maybe, is why do you want to make a lasting impact and affect this huge industry that we have, and how do you want to affect homes and communities and food and fiber? So I think that's part of it, and it all goes in, and you have people actually reviewing them. There are people actually in the college that will review applications. So it is a very holistic approach to it. Again, hopefully Susan will link that. So I think that's something that's good. Yeah, there she goes. So a lot of different factors, but that'll hopefully give you a little better idea. What makes a U of I unique? So I kind of mentioned earlier that, U of I is a big place. I'm not going to lie. There is a lot of people from all over the world, and I think that's pretty cool. I remember a student came to campus to visit about 6 years ago now, and she said it was pretty neat that she was in this classroom, and because we have them sit in on classes when they visit. And she said there was someone from like the neighboring town that was kind of sitting close to her, so she saw that student. And then she was talking to a student like on the other side of her that was from somewhere in Europe. I think it was France is what's sticking out to me. I may not be right on that. But anyway, another country. And she thought it was so neat that literally the student that she competed against within her conference growing up in high school, and then on this other side, there was someone from her or someone sitting next to her from another country. And just that's pretty neat. So that is pretty cool, and I think that's one thing that makes us unique. And again, we're major division D1 sports town. You know, we were identified this past spring or over winter as like one of the top 2 or 3 college towns in America, which is pretty cool, or at least top 5, something like that. You know, it's kind of got this mix of big city feel and opportunities, but then like literally you drive 15 minutes either way from campus, you're amongst the cornfields. So I think that's pretty neat, is that you can have this whole identity of big city, suburban, rural, small town, kind of all in this area, and I think that's pretty neat. Opportunity to study abroad. Oh yeah, I'm fortunate. I lead a study abroad for freshmen within our college to Panama. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go this winter break, but hopefully, maybe early summer I'll be able to take some students back. We have the college has a very large study abroad program, and something like 40% of our students within our college, so 40% of the ACES students do some type of study abroad experience during their time, and that may be like a spring break study abroad. It can be a winter break study abroad. That's one like I lead as a faculty member. Then we have semester study abroads, and we have full year study abroads, and we have summer study abroads, and they literally hit on every major within our college. So whether it may be going to South Africa, doing Cape Town and work with an orphanage, or doing community gardening, or going to Malawi and doing something with farmers there. I take a group of, again, mentioned freshmen into Panama, kind of exploring the Caribbean agriculture side, and it's pretty neat going to see the Panama Canal, realizing how integral that country is for us in agriculture for trade. So I think that's kind of the cool thing about our study abroad opportunities. And like I said, Susan mentioned you can kind of see some of the other things. Trying to think if there's any questions before I get to the last one here to stay within our 25 roughly minutes. You know, one of the things I would recommend to students, again, I kind of mentioned this, and this kind of goes along with the question about what is the biggest piece of advice, and I'll get to the life advice. You know, I came from a small town, like Olney is my hometown. There were about 150 students in my graduating class. I know for some students that's a lot bigger than their schools, and for some that's a lot smaller than their schools. But I grew up, the first school I went to, there were 8 students in my class. I went to a little country rural school where my mom was my first second grade teacher. And you know, I love Southeastern Illinois. I didn't think I'd ever want to leave that area. And I got involved in FFA, 4-H, and that exposed me to really the other part of the state. I mean, growing up, I'm not gonna lie, I thought Champaign and maybe just in north was Northern Illinois. And some of my friends who are from the deep south part of the state may still think that. But I think, you know, that's the thing, is like, take the advantage to go do things. Unfortunately, WLC was canceled for this summer, and FFA camp Illinois Leadership Camp was canceled for the summer. But if you have those opportunities, you know, take advantage of them. Just travel, like within the state, and figure out there's a lot of differences in agriculture just from Northern Illinois to Southern Illinois. And I highly recommend students to go see what's out there, especially if they want to kind of stay in the ag area. But realistically, any skill that you learn in agriculture, and I'm going to say this is part of our program here on campus, we do the leadership concentration as well, as those skills, they're transferable to so many other business and industry within our economy. And I think those are the things that I think companies are looking for. You know, what have you done to expand your knowledge? Even if you're farming, you know, my brother's farm back home, and, you know, it's coming to the Farm Progress Show and seeing all those different things. So I guess that's kind of goes along with exposing yourself to different ideas and learning along the continuum. As a teacher, you know, I'm always for, you know, learn as much as you can. And I definitely think that there's some opportunities that you can really learn and expand who you are on our campus. And there's a multitude of opportunities multitude of opportunities to do that on campus. Oh yeah, Susan had put in there on Thursday the 14th, so a week from today at 3 p.m. we're going to have a virtual session with some people you may know and recognize: Eliza Patry, Sophia Horton, and Johnny Poole. They're going to be doing a FFA/ACES chat next Thursday, the 14th at 3 p.m. And Susan put the link there if you want to enroll and talk to 3 students that are in our programs and kind of see what it's like to be a student on campus. So definitely next Thursday, check it out. Oh, Holly Spangler just chimed in. Oh, okay, yeah. So the question about ALEC, so I said leadership, education, communications. Those are the concentrations within ALEC, which is where I reside. You know, realistically, of course, I'm a bit, as an ag teacher, I love ag teachers and everything ag teachers do. I think that, you know, one of the big things about our program are like being people. So if you like talking and working with people, we like to say, at least I like to say, that we're people in ALEC. So whether it's a matter of if you want to work in agribusiness sector, maybe doing management, doing HR, doing internal communications or logistics kind of, that's a good thing for leadership. Students are going to sales. We have a lot of going to sales, ag communications, again, kind of the internal pieces of communication or outward pieces of communication that businesses may do or organizations may do, or sales. Those are a big thing that ag comm students kind of like to do. Ag education, if you want to be involved in teaching in high schools or community colleges, I think that's a good way to kind of get started related to, thank you, Susan, for linking ALEC to it. Really finding out who we are. One of the things I will say, kind of back up, I know I'm getting close to my time, that you know, we've had industry and business tell us that they're not always looking at what your major on your diploma says. They're looking at what skills and experiences you can bring them, and some of them you can't. Some of them you have to develop over time, like, you know, the ability to lead, be able to communicate, things like that. And then they you know, may give you some more of the technical content. That's why we encourage students in ALEC, at least, to pick up a minor to accompany their degree with us. But that's why internships are so important, and why we encourage our students to do internships, or whether it be paid or unpaid internships. Yeah, so once you kind of get into ALEC, you know, it's usually one of those things that, because I am the freshman, especially as you come to campus, you'll kind of, we'll sit down and talk about what your dreams and goals, professional, career, academic, personal goals, and we'll kind of figure out where you may want to go. There is some fluidity or movement between those first 2 years, but definitely those are conversations. Anytime you have questions about careers, you should always talk to your academic advisors or professors or whomever in your major. Yeah, so I think I've answered the questions related to what's been shot at me, and kind of covered some of these that are on what we were provided. Again, love for you to come visit us, whether it be virtually or come visit us in the fall. Hopefully we'll have you visit in the fall. Love to have you come meet with you. And again, if you have any questions, at the top of the chat, I put our visit aces.illinois.edu email address, and then aces.illinois.edu. If you have any questions, and definitely check out those links that Susan put in the chat as well. And hope to have you guys join our 3 students next Thursday at 3 o'clock, Sophia, Eliza, and Johnny, to find out what it's like to be an ACES student. Have a great rest of your school year. Hope to see you around at different FFA stuff, especially in the fall and next academic year. And let me know if we can ever have any help you in any way. All right. See you guys. Bye.